How are you this morning?
Yeah, I'm better. Okay. But today the little soak. I'm little soaked. Uh,
Like me.
you are talk a lot. Me, just maybe the little sick. Little sick.
Fair enough. Um, uh, oh yeah, this will be an interesting one because in China, you don't tip, right? Tipping is not like a normal thing,
Mm.
but that is very normal for Canada. So we're gonna do an article on tipping.
Tipping.
Uh, yeah, they're gonna say that tipping is bad, but you still will have to deal with it. And let's find out what's going on for tipping. So,
Tipping. Okay.
as the holidays approach, Canadians say they're being tipped over the edge. Bit of a joke there. They're basically saying that I have to tip 15, 20, 30% on my bill. That's too much money I have to tip on top of everything. Yeah.
Oh, tip. Okay, we don't pay the tip. Okay,
Yeah.
tip.
Same in Vietnam. We don't tip here.
Mhm. Uh, cafe, 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 cafe.
Kathy Kalila?
Color
Kalila?
recently tipped five buckets on an 18 box of the donuts at one Ottawa store and said the has no regular.
Yep. She's like, I tipped $5 and I don't feel bad. I'm happy. So she paid $18, but she actually gave them $23. Um, the reason why she doesn't feel bad will be because like she likes this special store. Like this is not going to be like a Tim Hortons or like a McDonald's. This is going to be like a small family bakery, and she's like, I want to help. So here's some extra money. Yeah.
Uh, I think when people see the opinion on the debate, uh, make, making
Machine.
the missing, they feel obliged sometimes to tip. Cannot said, but I'm not typing for the say of the tipping. I'm typing because I want to tip, and it's coming
Yeah.
for me.
So basically, when you see this pop up, right?
Yeah,
Hey, it feels like I have to do it. There is a button, a very small button here saying nothing, but
yes.
it feels like you have to tip because it's like, come on, you're not gonna tip. And so she's saying that like, uh, I like to tip. That's what she's saying. She's like, I like to tip. I don't feel bad about tipping. I think it's a good thing. But I feel like other people are worried about tipping. That's what she's saying. Yeah.
See, maybe in the mentality as the holidays approach, and Canadian sell out money for the gay folks, food, and another festive purchase. Some expert said people are weakened from our toast tip requires there that come with the uncertainty with the variety of the debate of or the credit card purchase.
Okay. So, yeah, essentially they're just saying that she, who likes tipping, right, this girl up here, might be not popular. Like, most people don't want to be spending all this extra money, right? Um, and I guess a lot of experts, like researchers, right, are saying that a lot of people are really mad about this. They're like, people don't like this. They think that this is getting out of control because back when I was in Canada, back in 2020, 20% was normal. If they did bad, you could give a 10% tip. And if they did good, you would do a 20% tip. But this is very common now where 15 is like a bad tip, 20 is a good tip, and 20 is normal, and 30 is like a good tip. So it's changed, it's gone up a lot since I left. And so, yeah, the experts are saying that people are not being happy with this. This is just saying if you want to talk to CBC, talk to him. Yeah.
Oh. It's starting to feel more like an obligation,
Obligation.
obligation, something that you just have to set a cycle fair, board
Borgia.
a physical roster with the taxation that Montreal based company that the researches people's behaviors.
So basically saying obligation means like you have to do it. You don't have a choice. It's not like, oh, I could do it or not do it. No, it's like you do it. And it feels like that. Again, technically, there's no rules. Like you could never tip. That's technically okay. But nowadays, it feels like you have to do it. Like there's a social kind of thing saying like, if you don't do this, you're a bad person. So, yeah, it's starting to feel more like a normal thing that you have to do.
People are stating to feel that it's no longer that art of the gaming sinks to that the individual that saving
So,
them.
the reason we tipped in the first place was to be like, you did a really good job. Here's a little bit of extra money. Thank you for your service. That was why we did it. However, nowadays, I've seen this. Like my brothers told me about this. At like a gas station, I do all the work. Like I pump my own gas at the gas station. I grab my own stuff. I pay for it, and then they also want a tip. They've done nothing to help me, and they're like, "I want a 15% tip." I'm like, "What? Like, what are you talking about? You didn't do anything." So this is why I think a lot of people are upset. Is not so much that like, hey, I should be tipping people and giving thanks to them. It's more about like it seems like everyone is now asking for a tip, even if they don't do anything for you. It's just like just the added cost. It almost feels like a tax almost, where like I'm just getting taxed for no reason, which is a bit annoying. Tip fatigue, meaning people are tired of tipping.
Bourgeois says the Canadians are feeling what's come to be known as the tipping factor, according to
Fatigue. It's French. Fatigue.
fatigue, according to the taxation numbers on research. Regretfully, 3 in 5 Canadians they surveyed yet felt posture to tip more than they did like to. Well, more than 80%, 80% said tipping culture needs overhaul.
Overhaul. Yeah. So basically, they're saying that, yep, people are tired. Tipping fatigue. Fatigue just means like super tired. They don't want to do it anymore. And they also feel like they had to tip more than they wanted to. So again, maybe they wanted to do a 15% tip, but they were like pressured into tipping 20%. They're like, okay, I guess I'll give you a little bit more. So it makes them feel really bad. And because of that, 80% of the country, that's basically everyone, uh, wants to overhaul. They want to change. They want this whole system to change. Either we get rid of it and start paying people more so that they don't have to rely on tips, or two, we go back to the old way of tipping. Yeah, they want to, like, a whole new thing. The problem, though, of course, is this is a cultural thing, not a government thing. So it's not like the government can change this. This is all related to, uh, yeah, uh, culture. So it's a bit weird to fix.
Talks finding echo polling done by the August Reed Lifestyle earlier this year, which found regarding 2 in 5 Canadians feel the pressure the tip is the pushing them over their spending the
Threshold.
three short so short.
Threshold means over the maximum amount. So, like, if you say, basically what they're just saying here is, when I go to a restaurant and I bring just me and my wife, let's say, I'm not going to a cheap restaurant, but I'm not going to an expensive restaurant. I expect maybe a $40 bill, maybe $50 if I buy a few drinks or whatever. But with this tipping now, that same bill that used to be $40 or $50, that would be like a kind of nice restaurant, is now like $60, $70, and that's just too much for me. I can't go up that high. And so because of that, I'm not going to go. They're saying that instead of, as the tips have gone up, they'd rather just skip the tip and like don't tip at all now.
As a result, they are not going out as much as they once were. August police find
Yep. If that one bill that used to be $40 or $50, depending on like what we ordered, is now a $60 or $70 bill, why would I go to the restaurant more often? I'm just not going to do that. So I'm just going to kind of stay home.
customer customer are not only feeling the fatigue said
Mhm.
voice items of are
Mick. Whenever you see MSC, it's Mick. Mick.
make or make
Yeah.
dance professor at the University of the Gulf Left
Guelph. Guelph.
who researches the system industry. There are also the questions what tipping is. Is this it about what it used to used to about originally and no it isn't.
Yeah, basically, it's not just that people are like, it's expensive now. It's now $60, $70 to go to a restaurant. But it's also like, why am I paying this anymore? Like, the reason I gave you this money in the first place was so that the waiter or waitress would come to me, help me all the time, make sure that I'm happy, make sure all my water's filled, blah, 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 make sure that I'm having a good time at the restaurant, right? Or at the service, whatever you're servicing, right? But now, like I mentioned with the gas station with my brother's doing the work, pumping the gas. My brother's getting the snacks and then going up to the counter and paying for it. The only thing that guy did was put the stuff into a bag, and he wants like a 20% tip. That doesn't make sense. Like, the idea of tipping is to get better service. And so, yeah, we're basically saying that it's not the same anymore. Things have changed too much.
The average greatly jumping from the 16 to the 20% between Jan 1 29 and Jan 1 2023, according to the technology and payment service company Squad, which say it can connect hundred of the 2000 of the Canadian business at slide
Yeah,
clients.
clients. Yeah. So people buying, right? Clients, like customers. Um, so yeah, the normal used to be, like I said, about 15, 16%. It was the normal. The normal was 15%, but you could always go up if you wanted to. So that's why it's 16%. But now the average is 20, meaning like the normal is 20, which is just too much from 2019 to 2023. Like this is a huge jump for a lot of people. Um, and now we're not counting like this is my tips are now like in the past I might have tipped like $100, $200 a year on restaurants and stuff. I might have done that for tips only. Nowadays it might even be thousands of dollars that I have to tip because of how much the percentage has gone up and the cost of everything has gone up. So because remember it's a percentage, it's not like a flat $2 or a flat $3 and then it went up to $4. It's 20% on a bigger bill now, meaning higher. So it's a bit difficult. Yeah, we expect.
We pay a kid to tip for the food delivery at the restaurant and here the slide
Yeah,
on
haircut.
list the expenses that we now pay the extra in a wonder wider
Wider.
wider wider range of
Mhm.
the situations are signed of the tip clip may call them safe.
So again, they're just saying like even if let's say it did go to 20% and that's the new normal, it that wouldn't even be that big of a deal if it was still the places that we normally did this. In the past, like when I was growing up, the only places you would tip would be restaurants, hair salons, um, and like specialty services like camping services or whatever, like something special, right? Like you do a swimming lesson or something like that. Maybe you would tip there. That was like the basic. And a lot of those you didn't even tip for. It's mainly just restaurants and haircut. That was it. But nowadays, we're expected to pay a tip at a lot of different places. Like even like a regular clothing store, you probably might be asked. Like it's getting really weird now.
It's also your dry calendar, calendar, your onion labbe person. He
Oil
said
lube.
lube, lube. He said I was at the gift shop the other day and they asked for the tip when I was just playing for some calendars.
Yeah. So again, now it's your dry cleaner, the place that you clean your clothes. The oil lube person is fixing your car. The fixing your car, you have to give a tip now. That's crazy. And again, even just a regular store that sells candles or sells like clothing or something, you do the work. I grab the stuff and I bring it to you. Why do I have to pay you extra for that? That doesn't make sense, right? Again, the reason for tipping is to get better service. And I'm not getting that better service, so people are really mad about that.
Creates quietly. Researchers have also noted that the tipping is where one's places emerge, with people forking over the different amounts based on several age, race, gender, or looks.
So this can be a big problem because depending on your age, your race, your gender, or how you look, like what if you are ugly or something, tipping will change, right? So if you're a beautiful young lady that people tip them more, or what if I'm a racist and I don't like Asian people or black people or whatever, I might tip them less. So the big problem with this is if your payment is now based on tip and mainly tip, well now like racism can happen again and people could lose a lot of money just because of their race, which could be quite bad. Not good, not good.
It it's being shown to be the dismantling it creates in quietly said Michael James. It can create the divisions in the system between fan of house and black of house. Black of
So again, imagine you get tipped $2 a day, and all you get is an extra $2, and you're like, oh well, at least it's something extra. But then you see another person, and they get like $200 a day for tips. You're gonna start to get mad at them. Like, I'm doing more work than you. I do the same work as you, and you get double my pay. Like it starts to get people to like fight each other. It's not good.
in those divisions in the fact men faced themselves in Ottawa this year when the past days at the Toronto won Virgin hit Birch,
Um,
Birch hit Birch
baristas.
Stars.
Barista.
Coffee House can rebate against the policy change that would have included managers in the tip power. That policy introduced just after an Ontario hit the minimum which was later reversed.
Good. Yeah. So that can be the other weird thing is how do you tip? Like, so again, like I said, let's say you were getting $2 a day and this person was getting $200 a day, but you're doing the same work. So some people believe, okay, if you're doing the same work, how about we just put all our money together and then give it out to how much you did, right? So I put $2 in, this person put $200 in. We did the same amount of work, so I get 101, they get 101. But what about people who didn't do any of the extra work, like the managers? So they all of a sudden just get to start taking our money as well. So again, this is why tipping can be very destructive and get people really angry. But yeah.
Another finding from the decision lab research was that nearly 3 in 4 people they spoke with said that when they were confronted with tipping the request sister, they took it as a sign in the establishment was underpaying their staff.
Yeah. Basically, if these people are desperate for tips, like, oh, here's a tip, can you please tip? Something like that, that kind of shows that the restaurant or the store or whatever isn't paying them enough, right? Like if they're desperately trying to get your tip, like please can you tip like 15, like anything, I'd be really happy. That kind of shows that this person is desperate for money, which shows that they're not paying them enough. So they're underpaying their staff, not good.
Many people also thought Dixon loved that they would play Canada and not tapping culture as the states in another countries like Japan.
Yeah. Or China or any other country. A lot of countries don't actually tip. Um, but yeah, a lot of people are like, hey, this clearly isn't working anymore. It used to be fine, but something has broken. Maybe culturally we can't do this anymore. Maybe it's time for us to stop tipping altogether, like Japan, China, Vietnam.
And a gas read flying also find a shift in the attitudes after the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, with nearly 60% of the respondents wanting to go a tip field.
Yeah. Basically, this was a huge thing in COVID-19, which is because with COVID-19, I couldn't see people and couldn't do stuff with other people. I had to do everything myself. I had to cook myself. I had to uh, go to the grocery by myself. I had to do blah blah. I had to do everything. Right? No one could help me. Even if I went to a restaurant, like they would like give you a machine so that you could do it yourself, not them. Right? So that's kind of where it started, where people were like, if I'm doing all the work, why would I tip you anymore? Like, I would tip you so that you would make it easier for me. You're not making it easier for me anymore. Why do I tip? So, yeah, COVID-19 was like a big change for the tipping in Canada.
Both that short of the systemic change could be hard to bowling about, where CBC Ottawa spoke to many people who were against the tipping. They didn't want to admit that on the camera, largely because they didn't want to sound cheap of the judge, judge
Yeah,
by
judged
and close
colleagues.
colleges.
Uh, so basically, yeah, they're just saying like a lot of people would say they don't like tipping on paper, but when you ask them, because they don't want to look bad, because again, this is a cultural rule, not a government rule, and because this is a cultural thing, people follow the culture a lot more. So they don't want to say it's bad, or they don't want to say they don't tip or blah blah blah, because it would make them look either very cheap, like oh you can't even give someone like $2 for coffee, like what's wrong with you, or these people are already underpaid and you're not going to help them with your tip. What's wrong with you? So like either way you go with it, it always kind of looks bad for you, and so they kind of stop it. I think we switch now.